Hi, everybody. We are back with the third installment of our international trade segment as part of that module for the course. Last module, we looked at the gains from trade when a country exports a good in which it has a cost advantage. In this brief video, we're going to consider the opposite case, case two, whereby the country does not have the cost advantage and hence as a result winds up importing the good that can be produced cheaper abroad. Okay, so we're going to start here by considering the market for flat screen TVs. Okay, and we're going to start by looking again at the market equilibrium when we're isolated in autarky. Okay, so note without any trade in autarky, the price of a flat screen TV would be $3,000, and in equilibrium, the quantity traded, let's say, is 400,000 units. Okay. However, in the international market, the price of a flat screen TV is much cheaper. It can be produced at a cost advantage abroad. And notice first and foremost, we can see here at this lower world price now, buyers want to buy 600 units. Sellers only want to produce 200 units, but these are domestic sellers. Okay, so where do the buyers get the additional 400 units from? They are going to wind up importing them. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did in case one. We're going to do our surplus analysis. And we're going to show that the economic pie winds up increasing when we move from autarky, from isolating ourselves with no trade, to opening up to free trade. Okay, so first and foremost, note that under free trade, okay, the consumers are going to demand 600,000 units. The producers only supply 200,000. Okay, so normally, again, this situation would be characterized as a shortage in our perfectly competitive framework. And there will be upward pressure on that price of 1,500 as the buyers try to outbid each other on the price. However, in this model, that does not happen because there is no shortage. The buyers get the remaining 400 units by importing them at that lower world price of 1,500. So again, if the world price is 1,500, the buyers know they can always get the cheaper flat screen TV abroad, meaning no buyer's ever going to pay more than 1,500. So accordingly, no seller is going to ever make a sale domestically at any price above 1,500. And we're going to conduct the same surplus analysis that we did in case one. Okay, so first note that in the market equilibrium without any trade, the consumer surplus here is area A, and the producer surplus is represented by the areas B and C. Okay, so total surplus under autarky, we saw this before, is just our usual total surplus triangle ABC. However, once we move away from autarky and we open up to trade, the price that the consumers pay goes down. Okay, so if we're measuring the consumer surplus now relative to a price of 1,500 and relative to the consumers demanding those 600,000 units out here, then looking at the area above that red price of 1,500, below the demand curve to the left of the quantity demanded, shows that the consumer surplus under free trade in this case opens up and increases to A, B, D. Note that the consumers had A before under autarky, but opening up to free trade allows them to capture some of the producer's piece of economic pie, which was represented by the area B. The consumers also add D to their piece of pie, which under no trade, under autarky, was not being allocated to any agent in the market. So the consumers here, in the case of importing, are absolutely better off. They get to import goods at a cheaper international price and benefit from that cost reduction. Okay, the other side of that is that the producers are hurt. Okay, their surplus is reduced from BC down to C. So the producers lose B, but the consumers gain B and D. So again, the gains to the winners, the consumers in the case of importing, which was different than the case of exporting, right? When we exported in the last video, we saw the producers wind up gaining and the consumers lost. But under an import situation, the consumer surplus is increased from improved welfare from cost reduction, buying a cheaper good abroad. And as a result, the producers are hurt a little bit domestically because they cannot sell the good for as high of a price as they would have when they're forced to compete with the foreign imports. Okay, so the size of the total surplus pie when we open up to free trade in the case where we are importing a good, in case 2, winds up increasing to A, B, C, D. So again, we can measure the gains from trade that accrue to us when we import a good by measuring the area of triangle D. And we will summarize these results and compare the import and export market results in the next brief segment. So we'll see you soon.